This is KUCR Riverside 88.3 FM. I'm Elliot Fong along with special guests today. Sam Trad and Trisha Keeling are leaders of Together for Redlands, a nonpartisan organization dedicated to working together to have transparency in the Redlands area and to protect students, teachers, and families. They advocate for fair and equitable policies. They are both parents of children in the Redlands Unified School District. Fun fact, Sam also grew up in the Redlands Unified School District. We also have Isabel Quintero, an author and lifelong IE resident. She lives in the Redlands area and is outspoken about the freedom to read. So, thank you for joining us today. And what is happening right now in the Redlands Unified School District?
Just a bit of a backstory, like many other school boards across America, really, Redlands got targeted by a few national groups a few years ago. And during the campaign season last year, there was a takeover of about two new board members that are trying to pass a number of policies that would harm students, basically.
The two new members are Project 2025 members who want to pass culture war policies that are just going to throw Redlands Unified into lawsuits because they go against our freedoms, our basic freedoms, like the freedom to express ourselves. So that's what we're fighting against, and we can talk more about the policies.
Yeah, so what are the policies? Are there, I heard that they're seeking to restrict certain books, for example.
Yeah, one of the things they want to do is ban books. They also want to ban flags and symbols and holidays, as well as force teachers to out LGBTQ plus kids. Those are kind of the three main ones. They also don't like trans girls playing girls' sports, but that is the law in California. And so one of the things we're really focused on right now is book banning. They want to that we already have a process in place. So if a parent doesn't want their kid to read a certain book, they can already make sure that kid doesn't read the book. But now they want to force everyone to follow their values and limit what kind of books they can access. And a lot of the books on the list are really fantastic classic books that librarians all agree are age appropriate for the schools that they're at.
And I think it's important to note too that the policy that they're seeking to approve is a copy and paste policy that Chino Unified passed in 2023. Allegedly, it is written by an out-of-state activist named Karen England with association to larger conservative think tanks. So this is not necessarily even a local effort. It's more of a national effort to limit people's access to books. A lot of them have themes of LGBTQ or are written by authors of color. They're the same people that are pushing these policies here in Redlands did a complaint of 9 books back in 2022, and just reviewing those 9 books cost the district $20,000. And so now we know that because the way they've worded this policy and saying that if a book is considered sexually explicit, they will just pull it automatically without review first, then review it, then put it back into circulation, but it gives it a loophole so that a book can just be perpetually in review. But we know now that if they intend to do that, there's no saying how much this would cost our district.
And if you're curious what books, if you look at Take Back Our Classrooms, you can search that webpage, Take Back Your Classrooms, and search Redlands. You can see the books they want to pull from each Redlands school, elementary through high school. And remember, Redlands Unified is Highland, Loma Linda, Mentone as well. And there's hundreds of books they want to ban. It's terrible.
Well, one of the angles is, they want to say that they're protecting families from sexual and explicit content. What is your concern with those with their concerns?
Well, what is sexually explicit content, right? So that's very up to the reader at times, and that's why, they districts have licensed professionals, librarians that read the content of books. They understand the deeper connections to things. And then um, they basically they're experts there. And we need to be trusting them. And we need to be trusting that there's merit to these things. People see themselves in the literature. And we have local authors like Isabel who are pairing with us to help fight back a bit. Do you?
Yeah, I just want to say back, helping kids see themselves, right? As someone who has had their book banned, I do want to say that I get a lot of letters and emails from young people. My book, Gabby, A Girl in Pieces, has been the one that has been banned. And it's just heartbreaking um, to hear from students that tell me this scene in this book, it happens all the time. The scene in this book is just like what happened to me, right? When we talk about things like rape, right? Like this happened to me, right? Or this happened to my friend, or this happened, my book deals with themes of like addiction and things that um, groups like the Redlands Unified School District across the country are saying are not appropriate for young people, are not, kids should not be exposed to this. But the honest truth is, like, that book was a lot of my life in the IE, right? That book was based on my life as a high school student in the IE. And so for people to say books like this don't belong in the classroom because kids shouldn't be exposed to this, well, kids are already exposed to this. They're already exposed to this. They just don't know how to handle it. And sometimes they don't have parents they can talk to about whatever, you know, sexual issue may be brought up in a book, right? And oftentimes the sex that are in books, they're not explicit. It's not graphic content. It's not teaching young people what to do, right? It's just a reflection of what is happening in young people's lives already. And so then when people say this does not belong in the classroom, what they're saying is, like, you don't belong in the classroom. That is what in effect they're telling young people when they're pulling books that reflect their lives. You don't belong in the classroom. You are not a part of this community. Your lives do not matter, right? We don't care about your experiences, which is really sad. Because I know saying we've come a long way, we haven't come like a long way, but we've come a way, right? For brown kids to see themselves reflected in books, and black kids to see themselves reflected in books, and queer kids to see themselves reflected in books. And they're like a real story, not just as a side character or a stereotypical character, but like as a character that's fully developed, that has a life, that has dreams and wishes, just like the kid reading the book, right? And so I think it is really important that we make it clear that these individuals that are trying to limit limit what kids read under the guise of protecting kids, under the guise of speaking for parents, are really not speaking for parents. They're speaking for themselves as parents, but not for me as a parent, right? Like, I have different maybe desires and goals for my kid than somebody else may have, or may have a different religion, or we may not be religious. And so somebody saying, I'm protecting your kid, you're not protecting my kid. You are, um, it is, you know, somewhat lazy parenting, right? To be telling people, you all have to read the same thing because I don't want to fill out a form that is already available to me to fill out. Um, I don't want to fill it out. So then everybody has to read what my kid reads. And it's just not fair. It's not just, it's not fair. And it's silencing a large group of people, large groups of people. Um, right. Oh,
Isabel, you are so right. I love everything that you're saying. It is so powerful. And I think, especially when you talked about, finding yourself in the book, each one of us is different, right? President Michelle Rendler, she's the president of the Redlands Unified School District Board. We have 5 seats, and she is the swing vote. She's a conservative Catholic, and she has said several times that she doesn't want any books in our schools that are sexually explicit. I'm doing air quotes, because she can't define it. She's been asked directly, what do you mean by sexual? What does that mean, right? in high school, kids are going through puberty and a lot of difficult things, and it's very uncomfortable and it can be very just so painful, especially traumatic experiences that students go through. And that's why these books are so critically important, because it helps people feel less alone, knowing that they're not the only ones, and helps them to understand the people in the world around them. And like Isabel said, we all come from different families and have different values. And that's, this is America. We should have the freedom to read the books that we deem appropriate for our kids, and not prevent other people from reading it. It's just so fascist and deeply troubling. Um, so President Rendler has been very interesting, because we've been calling her the swing vote for a while. We were really afraid that she is Camp MAGA, like she's voting with these Project 2025 people. But recently she actually voted against them because she didn't want to break state law, which was very exciting. And I'm not going to go into that because it's too long, and I want to focus on the road ahead. Um, we know that they are planning on voting on these policies. They were going to vote on them tomorrow, June 10th, but we heard it got pushed to June 24th. Now, what's difficult, just by the way, is the agendas don't come out till Friday night before the Tuesday meeting. So, we are guessing what's going to be on the agenda. There is a board meeting tomorrow night. IE Prism Collective, which is a fantastic nonprofit organization that helps LGBTQ plus people, is having a prayer vigil from 3 to 4:30 in front of the Redlands Unified School Board before the meeting. If anybody wants to go to that. The meeting starts at 6, but you have to get there at like 5 o'clock to start lining up. If you want to sit inside, they do let you sit outside. We usually come with water and folding chairs and things of that nature if you end up outside. But if you want to speak out, you have to fill out a public comment card by 6 p.m. If you get there at 6:01, they will not let you fill out a public comment card. And it's very upsetting, because I know a lot of people who've been 5 minutes late and they were not able to speak publicly at the school board meeting. So try to get there early if you can. Tomorrow is an important meeting. They're going to be talking about some important resolutions, as well as the budget for the year. Although from what I've seen, the budget looks okay. I'm still waiting to hear back from the teachers union, how they feel about the budget. But if you can come on June 24th, if you feel strongly that people should be allowed to read these books that have been part of we're talking about Brave New World, Bluest Eye, books that we grew up reading, Lord of the Flies. If you can't come, or even if you can, Isabel has done a really fantastic thing around Redlands. She's put up free postcards and boxes at the Frugal Frigate, Viva La Boba, Slow Bloom, Olive Avenue. I mean, I know I love an excuse to go to Olive Avenue Market. But you can fill out the postcard and drop it off right there while you sip your coffee. So please, please make your voices heard. If you go to Together for Redlands Instagram profile, we have a link that Trisha created, so you can easily email the school board. And it does have template language. We really encourage you to write your own thoughts, but we have template language there just to help you kind of figure out what you might want to say. So please keep emailing the board, writing postcards. It is working. I mean, I think the fact that they're postponing voting at this meeting is because we've been really successful in pressuring the board and having a lot of different voices from all over the area speak out.
Yeah, and I do want to say, there is no box at all of the Avenue Market. I have to replace it because it disappeared. Postcards and the postcard box disappeared from the market. But we have, like Sam said, at Frugal Frigate, at Slow Bloom, and at Viva La Boba, all in Redlands, there are postcards, and they are in conjunction with Authors Against Book Bans, an organization that I am a part of, which is a national organization of exactly what it is, authors who are against book bans. And so that initiative is supported by them as well. So I invite you to come in, let the board know how you feel on those postcards. They're free. The image on there is by the wonderful Zeke Pena, who donated that image. So come on out. Until we were going to stop collecting them today, the June 9th, but we will the 23rd. Does that sound good? We'll collect postcards until the 23rd.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Sam Trad, Trisha Keeling, leaders for for Redlands, and Isabel Quintero, author and IE resident. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.